I just, because I know they done, you could tell when they done got to him. And remember, that's not bad. Well, why is it not bad if all of them are tattletales? If they done went to your whole family, your nieces, nephews, sons, and daughters, and they manage them up to today. Up to today, they manage their behavior in relation to you. And they know what they're doing because they're going to tell each one the thing that if it's your sons, they just put them in jail till they break down. So after 15 years of going in and out of jail, and they know it, and the police is always asking them about you, well, they know what it is. Okay. Then you hint to them, might as well you can't do nothing to me. So I would let them know, go on and cooperate. Spend the rest of your life in prison because you're not going to do right. And they know you're not going to do right, so you're going to spend the rest of your life in prison. When they started cooperating, they started doing less time in prison. And now they out, they can do what they, long as what they tear up is mine. If it's my house and they just snatch everything off the walls and almost set it on fire. But they can stay out. They can stay out. Okay? My daughters, their mother is going to tell them. At every movie they see, everything they study, it says, if the FBI don't like your daddy, they're going to kill him. And it makes sense. One of my best friends here, well, a nice brother, he just wanted to pass something on. He's active here. He just said, Imam Musa, if you were to have 200,000 followers, the system would kill you. And then just going about our business like you never heard it. He was right at that time. He was right, you know. Unless his rendition, that's his picture. But remember, all of those things that seem terrible, they are a blessing. If you use them correctly. Number one, if all your family is snitches, they can't do nothing to you because they signed on to keep you under control. Don't worry. He's going to have enough money. He's going to be, but look who he's around. Why, those people are, and they're Negroes. Some of them go to church. They got, boss man said, look at those people, and they see, well, he's speaking all the time. Well, he's speaking with them. They don't have no special information about those people. And they almost have an American view of what they say they are. Why, those are Iranians, right? And then you take them to a few programs and they in there talking about Magbag America, Magbag America, right? That to America. They look like, and then they say, yeah, that's the way they look on TV. And that's what the white man said he do, right? So for them, you want to keep your uncle alive? Want to keep your uncle alive? Shoot, help us keep him. See, the other guys, you know, they playing good cop, bad cop. The other guys, the other agents, they want to kill him. And it makes sense, right? They want to kill him, but we, the good guys, we want to take, we like him, we want to help him stay alive. And remember, for them, that's everything. If you're alive, and don't worry, he's going to have enough money to get by. We're not going to take all of his money. We're going to just make it seem like he's on the verge of being right. That's what they're going to tell him. And guess what? That's what they're going to do. That makes sense for them. Because history, nobody gets past. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, all of them. And those people, they think are bigger than you. They think. You may have outlasted them. You may have evolved way above them, but they don't see that. When they show you the hero, it's Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and that's it. They don't see you as anything close to that. Although you may be outperforming, longevity. Shoot, if you done got to, if Malcolm 39, King 39, and you're almost, not 79, but 76, you done longevity. And the abilities, your abilities sharpen, right? King was at the end of his line as far as what to do. But if he'd had another 20 years messing with Boss Man, he might have come up with something. You see what I mean? If he had another 30 years, he might have come up with something. Well, 30 years, he would only be 69, right? That's only, he'd be younger than me. If he had another 30 years, I want you to try to imagine if you're constantly tasseling, hustling with Boss Man, and Boss Man just about gets rid of everybody else, but some kind of way you wasn't there that day, or you went down to, it's like I was saying, they get back there ready to bust you upside the head with a bat, and my shoe is untied. And you bend down to tie your shoe, right? And the bat swoops over your head. It's like a cartoon, the refrigerator's falling out of a 10-story building, and here it comes, and you just happen to stop and look over there for a minute, and the refrigerator hits right there in front of you. You've seen that in cartoons. That's the way life has been for me. It's been like that all the time. It's been like that. It's like that now. It's like that now. It's been like that. So after a while, other people do not get that benefit, and they don't get longevity to last a long time. You know why the black movement was not successful here in America? No longevity. You know why the Chinese Revolution was successful? Shoot, it started in the 20s. They had a long march in the 30s. They had to participate in World War II, and they had a civil war in the late 40s, and by 1949, they became the Republic of China. They had all of those years. Negro didn't get that shot. Even in Cuba, they made a mistake, and then they did a little time in jail, then they come out. Then they started tussling, and they went to the Sierra Madres. Fidel Castro, the mountains. Yeah. Okay. So we had time. We never got no time. When we started this stage, of the last stage of the so-called freedom movement, freedom rides in 61, 62, right? 63 demonstrations, this, that, another, Selma, all of that stuff, right? 65, so-called Watts Rebellion, a little bit in New York in 64, but the Watts Rebellion, and that was a long, hot summer every year up until 69. It was a long, hot summer every year up to 69. But by 69, they got this boy, they got it in shape. They done already, by 69, they're destroying every Panther Party. They done destroyed all the other black movements. They done scared everybody, scared the pants off of most of the people. Although the people saw themselves dying and dying and dying, that the people didn't have no time to learn how to rebel. The first one, they just took them off and put them in jail and put them under so much pressure. I wish you could imagine the amount of pressure. The brothers and sisters, or those old trials, every time you look on TV, it's a trial, a new trial. Or the Panther office got raided. It's no joke when I was saying that I changed to a disguise in '68. Remember that Black Panther look that stuff that I would have with the Black Panther look? And then over here, you have a nigga with a white suit on, with mink on and everything. That stuff was the disguise. Why? Because the people with them stingy brim hats, black leather coats was dying like flies, right? Now, when I left the country, when they finally turned on me, when I left the country, I went right to Algeria where the Black Panther Party was. And I took tons of money with me too. I believe I took more money than anybody ever took them. Any Negro, definitely wasn't no Negro took them that much money. Okay, the point I'm making was, and I'll go back to it. We named several of our talks from Stalingrad to Oakland. Does anybody remember that? From Stalingrad to Oakland. To remember what Stalingrad was, the Germans in 1941, I'll think of the name of that operation, but the Germans launched, they broke this treaty or non-aggression pact that they had with Germany and Russia, or Stalin and Hitler. And the Germans attacked that whole big Russia. Boy, and for the first year they was rolling. They had captured so much of the country. Remember, Russia has got 6, 8 time zones. I think it's got 8 time zones. So Russia, they was almost, they was at Stalingrad. They don't call it Stalingrad anymore, but they was at Stalingrad. They was all knocking on the door of Moscow. They was ready to go to the Caucasus and get all that oil, which Germany needed. But Stalingrad changed the whole dynamics of the war. In other words, everything that they had bombed Stalingrad so much that it was rubble everywhere. Okay, what does that mean? That means that those tanks, those panzers that could maneuver out on the steppes of Russia, and they was deadly. They could take what they wanted, and they did. But what about if the tank is in a city, there's rubble everywhere? It can't go anywhere. And if you got snipers and people with bazooka type weapons in all the windows and everywhere, right? You can run up next to it, and because the tank cannot shoot on each side, right? It could shoot in the front, and those buildings, it can't shoot way up there. It can't shoot up there. You can't shoot right over there, and it may shoot right like that, maybe, but it can't shoot up there in those buildings. It was tailor-made to destroy the German army. And the German army got to Stalingrad, and they started having face-to-face combat. Then the Russians brought out snipers, and they started sniping them. And pretty soon, that's 1942. By the end of 1942, started at 41. By the end of 1942, the German army is defeated almost. So by 1943, the early part, let's turn it another way. They surround Stalingrad, the Russians do, right? And Hitler don't allow the people to retreat, right? So I don't know, it was 91,000 Germans captured all their machinery and everything else. And out of those 91,000 people that surrendered, I think 6,000 of them made it back to Germany. You got to remember how cold it get in Russia. And you got to remember, when the Russians are chasing the Germans back into Germany, this takes a long time. They don't cross the German border till 1944, up in that 44 and 45. The Germans are defensive all of that way. And what are the Russians doing? They're crossing territory that the Germans have destroyed. They done killed old women, children, everybody. They done destroyed it. And the more the Germans run, the madder and more determined the Russians are getting. The Russians call that the Great Patriotic War.